Political Blast, where pop culture gets blasted.
And I've really got to change that intro video out because I have a second one where I hired a British voice actress to do that little bit. And it would be so apropos when I speak with all of our friends in Great Britain and the UK and Ireland, or what, I don't know. Everything fits into something there. And I don't know what the outer layer is and the inner layer is. England, Ireland, Wales, wherever you are from over there, we love you on this channel and we would love to have more of you come on. Tonight, we are going to be speaking with Mr. Wooly Hazle, or is it Hazle? I didn't ask about it.
Yes, Hazle. Yeah, Wooly Hazle.
Wooly Hazle, and his book, Ailsa Dark. Now, okay, I'm running into a lot of words that I can't pronounce here right off the bat, and I thought we were speaking English. So.
You did well there. I've been on a lot of streams where we've continually talked about Ailsa Dark, but it's Ailsa Dark, so you were spot on. You pretty much got it. Ailsa's fine, but the correct pronunciation is Ailsa. Think of it like a flagon of ale. You know, Ailsa.
I can think of that. Ailsa.
Yeah. Yeah, Ailsa. It's a Scottish name, Ailsa Dark, and I wanted the character to have a particularly Scottish name, and it just kind of looked good as a logo, Ailsa Dark.
Now, is that because I'm looking at the cover, and I'll share the screen up here in a little bit, but I guess Scottish mythology is informing a lot of the background here, because I've never heard of bampots, so I don't know what those are. I don't know what pure Gallus means. So these are things that would speak to the European reader.
Well, they speak to the Scottish reader, but I put them up specifically because I wanted to have something there that would, like yourself, have somebody, let's say, American or Canadian or Australian say to me, what is that? You know, so they can get a wee bit of a flavour of the Scottishness of the book. So a bampot, it's not from mythology. A bampot is another word for an Egypt. If anybody doesn't know what an Egypt is, it's a foolish person. Okay, so a bampot is a foolish person. Although in my comic book, the bampots are flesh-eating ghouls. Right, so I'm playing around with the idea of like somebody that you would think, you know, is a foolish person, but is also quite possibly the most dangerous person you could meet. And Gallus is something we say, particularly in Glasgow, where I'm from, in Scotland. Where you say you're pure dead Gallus, which just means you are the bee's knees, you are the best out there, you are quite possibly perfection.
I'm getting an etymology lesson here that I did not plan on, and I took 3 years of Latin because I love learning new words and how the Romance languages were all inspired by that.
I think Gallus originated from being taken to the gallows to be hung, you know, and showing defiance and being taken to the gallows. I think it's something like that, and it becomes Gallus. And over the years, that becomes it's just basically you're Gallus. You know, you're ready for anything.
Despite my my Scotch ancestry here, my mother was a cat cart, and I traced that all the way back into Ireland and then back up into Scotland, and then out of Scotland, and I don't know where it went from there. But
the Irish and the Scots, we got everywhere.
Yes, Isabella Bruce was my great grandmother. Of course, she's not nearly as famous as her brother Robert.
I was just thinking that.
but yeah, it was her brother. So I'm gonna have to learn more. I might have an estate back there that I need to go see if I can lay claim to for a night or two.
You never know. You never know.
All these Scottish castles, you hear about them, and then you look them up, and they're like, that's a hill with a hole dug in the side of it.
It's usually just a rubble that used to be a tower on a hill.
We have the chat fired up here. Kami Mark is here.
I'm in the chat.
I'm in the chat. Thank you, Kami Mark. We got Statistical Zero here too. Love you,
Mark. He's
coming on here. So let's.
Well, That's a statistical zero original right there.
This red artwork here with the
that there is one of Stato's originals.
Yeah, that right there, if it's not already, that needs to be a die cut sticker or a sticker on transparency that's a rectangular, so that you can put it on something and have it appear like that. That's something that'd be a great little add-on or stretch goal.
You can hide behind it.
So you've got a video here, and since you went to the work of making it, we're going to go ahead and let people see the effort you put into it. So let's give this a play here and see what we got.
Their ghosts are moving tonight, rest away.
Wow, that's some good production quality in that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, not bad.
So I saw large magazine format, and this is where I get into the whole mind warping. A3 or A4?
It's A4. I'll help you out. Hang on a second. Give me a second. Right, so here we have good old-fashioned traditional size American comic book. And here we have it next to Ailsa Dark.
Oh, okay. So for the American collectors over here, this would be akin to the size of your Marvel magazines that you used to get, like Rampaging Hulk.
And as if by magic, it's just slightly taller than one of those, as you can see.
Look at that. There you have it.
There you go.
It's almost like you've been asked this question before, Wally.
Yeah, it has. It's the first time I've actually had that at hand where I could do that.
BAP 2.
Oh, yeah.
No, I feel your pain. I feel your pain, man. You wanted to back this, but with the shipping would run you $96 US. I am working on the solution to this, BAP. And gosh, dang it.
I feel your pain because so many campaigns I would want to back too, but you just can't do it.
I want to launch into this so badly, but this is your show tonight, not mine. But let me just say that there's an answer coming, BAP2, and the answer that's coming is this. This would be a hell of a lot more interesting with audio on it. We are going to come up with a way to help our friends in the UK cut their shipping costs down to darn near American domestic media mail. So
that'd be great.
that is coming. Wally, you've got the link to that answer right there.
The thing about the shipping is, it's like before I do all my costs, I weigh everything. So I've got everything boxed and weighed. So I've got previous comics printed from various different things I used to do conventions. So I can put them in. I can get the weight that I need, and I know how much it's going to cost. I calculate it with the Royal Mail's website, and then you go in, you put it into Indiegogo, and it's kind of like, it's one of these things where it's like pretty much everyone you get from the UK, any of the CG UK books you get, we're keeping it as low as we can.
Yeah, we can't help it. You guys can't help it.
We just can't help it. There is I always give a digital option as well for people, because I always say at the end of the day, it's the content that really matters, and I'm quite proud of the content. And so maybe have a look at my tiers. I can talk to you about exactly what I do with the digital, because you get everything. You get all the stretch goals as digital as well when you go digital.
Well, let's take a look at some of these stretch goals here. Now, this is all 3 issues. So for somebody who is just now getting into it and missed the first 2 issues, these are, wow, the first 2 were 36-page comics, and this last one here, you're blowing out the walls for 50 pages.
Yeah, I'm trying to evoke a kind of Bronze Age atmosphere with the whole thing. So the idea of doing like an annual or a giant size special appealed to me, and I thought, originally I thought 4 issues, like a wee kind of mini series, and then I thought, no, the next one I will close the campaign with like a full 3-issue arc, because I think it's better that way. People don't need to wait for another campaign to get the conclusion. So I came up with the idea of a giant size special, just like you would get back in the day. When you get to like issue 50 of a Marvel 2-in-1, it would be a double size issue, that kind of thing. So that was the idea behind that. So it turns out you're getting, for your money, what you're getting is the equivalent of a 124-page graphic novel. Think of it that way, in 3 separate chapters. And then it kind of looks, well, it is actually pretty good value when you look at it that way.
Absolutely. Are you thinking of putting them all into one volume next?
That's not really what I was thinking of. I mean, it's maybe further down the line. The next campaign I've already got planned out. Once this one has been fulfilled in May of next year, the next one is ready to go. And maybe eventually down the line, I've got 3 arcs worked out for this character, Ailsa Dark. So I think maybe after I've done the 3 arcs, I might think about something like that. But right now, the only way you're going to get this story, at least for the next couple of years, is in this campaign as these 3 issues. All
right. So this is let's talk a little bit about the character, Ailsa Dark. She's a horror hostess on television.
Yes, she's well, I figured she's got a YouTube channel, much like everybody, much like yourself, much like me. But she's far more successful than any of us, because she's Ailsa Dark, and what she does is she'll show Plan 9 from Outer Space or Night of the Living Dead, and she'll be interacting with the viewers at the same time, and they'll all be talking about what they're watching on screen, either loving it or making fun of it or whatever. But that's just a cover for what she really does. So she essentially polices the creatures of the night who live in our world and come over here from another world. And she polices the border between that world and ours. And she gathers information via the YouTube channel and social media, and that's kind of like her informant, sorry, what you get in touch with her that way. So that's kind of like the basic idea of who she is and what she does. But the story is much more than that. So once you start reading the story, you think you're reading something that's kind of like one thing, but I kind of take it another place. And it's all about learning the mystery behind this character, because in the first issue, even most of the second issue, she's the one character you learn the least about, and I'm interested in just feeding you enough information to make you interested in her character, so that you kind of like you keep coming back. And it's all about introducing the characters around her, and you learn about her from being introduced to those characters. So the first story, quite simply, is somebody's going to try and bring about an apocalyptic event through a ceremony involving werewolves, and this is what she gets caught up in.
And she reminds me of a friend of the channel, Ivana Cadaver, who runs a horror show.
Yeah, I follow her. I can't find any way of watching her show. I seem to be, maybe because I'm in the UK, there doesn't seem to be any channel or anything that I can check.
Yeah, I watch it streaming. You can actually find her YTA channel. You can go straight to it on the internet. And it plays in a window.
Oh,
you need doing it right now. So
you need to give me a link for that then, so I can do that, because there's a few horror hostesses that I follow and follow back. I'd like to be able to check out some of their shows and some of their channels.
In fact, don't play, get out, don't play. I'm just going to throw it into the chat. If anybody ever wants to follow Ivana Cadaver, this is how you get to U2 America, the live viewing stream right there in the chat. I'll throw it to you in the private chat too there, so you can copy and paste it. But yeah, she has the best bad movies. And speaking of best bad movies, last weekend, we played Santa Claus Conquers the Martians and had a live watch party with that.
Cool.
I don't know if you've ever seen that one, but then tomorrow night, we're going to be doing it again with Santa Claus versus the Devil. So I have not seen that one, so I have no idea.
No, that's a new one on me as well. Well, me and Statistical Zero we watched Dracula in Istanbul a couple of weeks ago. He's never forgiven me. That was an experience, but it's fun. It's a fun thing to do. Have a wee watch party every now and then.
Yeah, they did a lot with that. Was that that wasn't a Hammer film? I'm guessing that was probably.
No, this was pre-Hammer. It was like an old 1950s Turkish movie. So you can imagine the quality. It was he's in the chat. He's shouting at me. I urge everybody, if you haven't seen it, go to my channel and have a wee look at it. It's, at least for the first half hour, it's a lot of fun.
Well, it had to be. It kind of dates the film. It was Dracula in Istanbul. He wasn't in Constantinople.
No, it wasn't. It was Dracula in Istanbul, not Constantinople. That should be the full title.
Yeah, because as old as Dracula is, he probably should have been saying, "Excuse me, where did they put Constantinople? I'm lost." Oh, we're aging ourselves now.
Oh, I know.
So this is the digital only.
That's the digital only. So for anybody who's coming back, who's got the digital tier, the first one, and I sold a few of them. Mostly when it went into in demand, I think there's a few people that have been in touch again that they're asking to make sure I'm going to demand and I am. That's the third issue. Now, if you go digital with me, I don't think you should undersell yourself when you're digital. So it's a decent kind of amount of money I ask for the digital. What you get is it's not the same file I sent to the printer. It's a proper RGB file and it's formatted in 3 different ways. So you'll get a PDF that's formatted as double page spreads. So if you're watching it on like I've got in front of me on my Mac, you get the full double page spread in front of you. I also give you a single page formatted PDF that lets you read it a lot easier on your phone or smaller mobile device, and also give you a CBR for anybody that has a comic book reader that wants to read it that way. Yeah. And you also get digital versions of the stretch goals, high quality 300 DPI printable digital versions of the stretch goals.
Okay, so you're getting the best digital quality that you can, and
pretty much. I don't think anybody can beat me on digital.
And you're getting the digital version of any prints and cards that would have come with the stretch goals if you were to pack it physically. So that's cool there. I totally get what you're saying about the double page spread. I get a lot of PDF from different comic book providers like Dynamite and Zenoscope for review purposes for the website criticalblast.com. And I hate doing it on my phone, first of all, because I'm blind and it's a really little screen. But I always have to go through the setup. Every time I open one up, I was like, okay, view it, 2-page spread, first page on the right, because there's nothing like seeing one half of a spread and then going to the next page and there's the other half of the spread, and it read horizontally the whole time. So flipping back and forth. I've finally figured out how to keep myself straight on that.
Yeah, I'm even careful with the way I design the pages, thinking that way, because if you're reading it as a single page one digitally, don't worry, it's not going to feed across onto the second page and bring you back to the first page to go back to, all your information will be in that page before you go into the next page. So I keep that in thought as well.
Reader friendly. Always be reader friendly.
Exactly.
So
just added this tonight. This was a print that I did for the first campaign. It was a limited edition print. I had a few of these that were still available, and I thought, so just as we're closing out on towards the end of the main campaign, I thought I would add these on here, and they're proper G-clay prints, so they are archive ready, sort of like archive quality 8x10 G-clay prints, and really quite nice indeed. So I thought I'd add this on as well. If anybody's already backed and they decide to go for this, the postage on this is free, so I'll just add that to your original tier that you backed. And if you don't back anything else, you just fancy a really sexy looking nice print that will probably last longer than any of us will, because it's a proper kind of archive quality print, then you'll get this, and there'll be free postage involved with it, so you'll get it for free postage.
You've already had one person claim one today.
I have, yeah. Pretty much. I sent out the link tonight for the update, and a previous backer came back and thought, yeah, need to get this.
All right, so that's just the print, the $26 US there, 20 pounds.
Yeah, just a print. I thought I've got a few of these. I'll put them up. And that is the third issue for anybody who's got the first one. Then that's the one to back. That'll give you'll now be able to get the complete story. We did do a 24-hour variant. You'll be able to see it later when we scroll further down, in which my character, the Tatty Bogleman, took over the front cover for the first 24 hours, and I think it was either 11 or 14. I can't quite remember. Copies of that went in the first 24 hours as well. But we had to shut that off so it doesn't actually show up on the tiers anymore. But that went down quite well.
All right, and this is the book itself. Just the book.
Just the book. So for that you get the book and all the tiers. You get the stretch goals, of course. So any stretch goals. So right now there's 2 stretch goals that have been reached, and you're going to be getting them along with this book. When you go in, if you go into back any tier, you'll see that there are other add-ons as well. There's a making of that will be available as an add-on, and there's also a 3D comic of the Tatty Bogleman that I did for the first campaign, complete with 3D specs, and that's there as an add-on too. So I'm trying to make everything that I did for the first campaign available in some form in this campaign as well for anybody that's just coming to it.
Yeah. Now this is what I was going to ask about, and you've already got it. This is the digital catch-up. So this is all three books in digital. I thought we just saw that up here.
No, that's just the third issue in digital. So anybody who comes from the first campaign will go for that. Anybody who's new to it and just wants digital, you'll get them all here. Yeah. Got
it. So that's all 3 digital books, over 120 some odd pages, I think.
124 pages. Yeah. And you also get like a high quality PDF of the stretch goals as well. So if you've got a decent printer in the house, you can print them out and frame them and hang them in your wall. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, just take your PDF to your local print shop.
Yeah, that's it, and get them to do it. That's a good idea.
Just tell them you want to print this book out and staple it in the middle, and there you go. And Bob, your uncle, you've got a cheap copy printed.
Yeah. Although the prices they charge sometimes, you might be as well just back in the physical.
Yes. You just want one copy of this book? Well, that's going to cost shit. So before we move on, Heroinberg is in the chat, and he's asking you to tell us more about the legend of the Tatty Bogleman.
The Tatty Bogleman, right? Okay. I did a live stream on Monday, the first of my live streams I'm going to do talking about my books, and it was all about the Tatty Bogleman. So maybe you should give that a wee look because there's loads in there. But just to fill you in as to who he is, the Tatty Bogleman was originally, and I might have it here, or I might not. Give me a second. I don't want to drop that. I do. Here we go. So that was my first Tatty Bogleman, and he was created specifically to be a Scottish kind of like version of the Crypt Keeper from the old EC comics. So the
Yeah.
first comic I put together a few years ago was an anthology, and I needed my version of the Crypt Keeper, so I came up with the Tatty Bogo Man. And after I drew him and started like writing them in these wee bits, I thought these wee kind of like intros and kind of like tail end bits, I thought, I like this character. So the second issue of my Tales of Mystery and Imagination comic, I gave him an origin story. And the origin story is very much like, if you can imagine taking the greatest horror movie ever made, which is, of course, The Wicker Man, and combining that with Hammer horror movies and throwing in just a little pinch of Freddy Krueger and making sure you stir it up in a big vat of whiskey. That's what you're going to get when you read the Tatty Bogo Man. It's like an old school 1970s British horror movie brought to life with a real melodramatic sense of the grand guignol.
Very good. I love it. I already love the title of the book, you know, Tales of Mystery and Imagination. I'm like, ooh, Alan Parsons Project's first album.
Well, it's the public domain name of Edgar Allan Poe's first collection, so that's the thing. That's why I went for it. I thought I can use that, and it resonates with people, because when I was selling it at conventions, people were like, "I'm sure I read that as a kid," and I'm like, "No, you read a comic like it, you know," but it wasn't, because it's just one of these things. It just evokes the kind of sense of any number of different kind of anthology comics you might have read when you were a kid growing up in the 70s.
I don't know how it works over there, but here in the United States, you can't copyright titles. So that's why there's, you know, I reviewed a movie tonight called Army of One, and I was writing a review up on that, and I went out to IMDb to get it, and there were like 7 of them within the last 30 years, all called the same thing. It's like, well, there you go. All different, but all the same title.
Yeah.
So here you get the comics and the prints. Now this is all 3 books. Ailsa versus the Tatty Bogo Man print, and Ailsa Dark versus Dracula print. So Dracula is a character in your universe, or is that just on the print?
I'll show you. I've got the print here. So you can see this. It's framed, so it's a wee bit glossy. This was a stretch goal in the first campaign, and I like the whole idea that the classic monsters are actually part of Ailsa Dark's world. They're not actually in it, so you're not actually going to meet Dracula, but there's a connection there with old school horror movies in the first 2 issues. Anybody who is back the campaign will know what I'm talking about. But Ailsa Dark in the second issue, there's a connection to Ed Wood and Bela Lugosi. So it's not just that she presents a show that has these movies in it. There is actually a connection. And the second arc that I'm going to do after this is going to be set, or at least a good chunk of it is going to be set in 1956 Hollywood, in the slightly seasier section of like Hollywood. So there's a real connection to old school kind of like B-movie horror.
Now, did I see something near the top of the page or somewhere on the page about Max Schreck? Or am I remembering that from something else I saw today?
You might be remembering from something else, but
it sucks getting old. Your memories get all muddled together.
I wouldn't be surprised if something involved or related to that turned up. But I'll quickly show you this one. That's the other print that you get in that.
Oh, let's
there we go. It's this is actually a proof of it. It's a smaller size print, but it's quite a nice one. I did this print originally, just to introduce both the characters. So there's Ailsa Dark there, and then if you turn it this way, you get the Tatty Bogo Man.
Oh, I love that MC Escher fighting arena.
Yeah, so
you want.
So this is the Dreamscape, which is part of the storyline. So that tier that's got the 2 prints, and that's the 2 prints that you get with it.
I just love the line work on your stuff here. This is it's a very, I don't know the term for it. It's like the stuff I read in the 70s and 80s when I liked comics.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. That was my whole. It's kind of I just took my own natural drawing style, and kind of worked on it as a comic book style. As I was working on the first issue, and as I was working on like the previous Tales of Mystery stories, I think I've now formulated a proper kind of style that fits Ailsa Dark. And I don't copy artists from the 70s, but I think about them. So I'm trying to work in the way they work. So I'm thinking about Gonzalez or Rudy Nebres or people like that on Vampirella. I'm thinking about Paul Gulacy on Master of Kung Fu. I'm thinking about all these kind of artists while I'm doing it, without actually actively trying to emulate them. And it's kind of working. I'm kind of getting it. And as the comic goes on, it's like in the third issue, I'm kind of like, I'm thinking about Kirby quite a lot because it's getting bigger, it's getting more kind of like cosmic, on a human kind of Earth scale. So I'm thinking Kirby, but I'm not drawing like Kirby, So I'm glad that comes across that it's from that era.
Yeah, this is a very in-your-face kind of picture here. So this, I'm going to assume this is an important character in the book.
Yes. Yeah, he is. It's a kind of a spoiler because it's in the first two issues, but it's a character as Mr. Goodwin, who he is an unassuming kind of chap. Normally, he's actually based on a TV sitcom character from the 1970s, from a show called Man About the House. The American version, I think, was called Two's Company or something. I think it was that.
Oh, Three's Company, yeah.
Three's Company, and it had the Ropers. So he was. It's based on the actor who played the guy who was their landlord. So it was a really unassuming middle-aged wee guy, but that's what he turns into. And I just thought it was. I didn't want to have like muscle-bound heroes or. I want a villain who walks into a room and nobody realizes the villain's walked into the room. Somebody's completely unassuming. So this is the first reveal of him when he changes into a werewolf. The full reveal is actually even cooler, but I'm holding that back until people actually have it in their hands as a physical copy.
All right, yeah, he's definitely noticeable now.
Well, I thought he's got the monocle, and even his mustache, it grows when he becomes a werewolf. It doesn't go away; it just actually grows. I just like that idea.
I like it too. It's got a unique look to it. It doesn't look like any other character that you've ever seen in comics. So he's standing out.
Yeah, cheers. That's kind of like another kind of like a person I think about when I'm working is like Steve Gerber as well. And try and think is the kind of characters he might have created for Howard the Duck or the Defenders or something like that. Where they're just slightly left field, slightly off kilter. And I love that.
Well, right next to this, we've got the Ailsa Dark Fear Box.
The Ailsa Dark Fear Box. Okay.
That's a big one.
Yeah, what you get in here is that looks quite a lot. So that's just under $300. That's quite a lot, I've got to say.
Postage. I'm going to assume that that's in Scotland.
No, that's worldwide free postage.
Worldwide free postage. Okay.
Worldwide free postage on that. Okay. What you get on this is you get all 3 issues. You get the Tatty Bogleman 3D special. You get the making of Ailsa Dark, which is a 28-page comic that I'm putting together about the making of Ailsa Dark and the Tatty Bogleman. And there's actually quite a story behind that as well, because there was a whole run of Ailsa Dark that I completely trashed. And I have 1 issue left, which I'm keeping here. This is the first issue of Ailsa Dark, which nobody has read apart from me and my wife. Okay, she's much softer looking on that cover as well, much softer looking character. And the movie that was in it was not Plan 9 from Outer Space. It was, in fact, werewolves in a girl's dormitory. Go figure. So, in the actual comic as it stands now, she's introduced watching Plan 9 from Outer Space. So, so you get that making of in here as well, and that'll tell you the whole story, and also how I put everything together and where it's going to go. And that's a 28-page. That's a good, solid kind of like A4 same size making of. You're going to get the Tatty Bogleman badge or pin, as you call them over there. You can wear with pride, and you're going to get a postcard set, which is 6 postcards of the various covers. One of them's in 3D, so you put the glasses on that come with the 3D special, and you can see the postcard in 3D as well. You're going to get a sketch card, an original sketch card, and you're going to get prints that are available in the other kind of like print tier, and you're going to get an A4 commission from me. So you tell me what character you want me to draw, whether it's one of mine, one of yours, or Batman, or Christopher Lee, or whoever, and I'll give you a drawing of them as a commission, and that will be included as part of your box.
That's a fantastic box. Now the box is there a box itself that is all that's contained in, or is it?
That's the box. It's going to be just this nice, sexy black box. And they're going to be wrapped in a nice, sexy red tissue paper as well.
Okay, I didn't know if you were getting them embossed with the Ailsa Dark logo, or.
Well, you never know. I'm still making decisions as to what I'm going to do with the fear box, but we shall see. Yeah. All
right. The perks after that are already gone. So
yeah, the original artwork is gone. I've still not finished it. I've got it here, but. Well, actually, I moved it because I was working on it. I've still not finished it. That's gone. I'm going to introduce another piece of original art when I go in demand, and that'll go up as well. So as soon as the art's finished, they can send it off. So that I'll be finishing that in a couple of days. I'm waiting till after Christmas before I send it off, though, because it's just going to be mental right now, I think, if I send it in the post.
Well, I want to go back to that Teddy Bogleman 3D special. Because I've always been curious how you get into making something 3D. Now, I wouldn't ask Ray Zone something like this because that's just how he sees the world, apparently. But what are the technical things that you have to know as an artist if you're going to turn something into a 3D look with the X-ray specs and everything to make it jump out?
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know if I could. I did loads of research into it. Like my own, just playing around with it. And you know how most 3D comics, they're either have like a brown look to them. They're not like, they tend not to have like a solid black line.
Right.
You know, when you look at the ones that, at least the ones I bought back in the day, like John Byrne's Batman 3D comic is really good. I think Ray Zone did that. He did them all, didn't he? And then the PC comics, the ones that they brought out as well, had that look. Hang on a second. No, I don't want to update Photoshop. Go away. I'll share this with you, and then I can show you a page. So yeah, so that's a page that I did for the Teddy Bogleman, and it's what I did was I managed to get it working so that it was completely black line. And it worked in 3D, but when you converted it to CMYK for print, some parts of it kind of went blurry. I did tests where I did simply using cyan and magenta, which is what I've done here. So I have like, if you look at it, I'll zoom in.
Oh yeah.
To Madame Maleva here, and you'll see that I have like a cyan and a magenta layer, and simply by moving them left and right, that's how you create your three-dimensional look. And you lose the black line, but you get a really nice sense of depth. But everything that you work on has to be very carefully worked out so that it's all on planes. You know, so you're working on planes when you do stuff in order to make it actually work in 3D. So this worked out really well. And everybody is back the first campaign loves the 3D Teddy Bogleman. So I'm carrying on with it, but I've been doing some more tests as well to try, because I still want to do one where it's as close to black line artwork as possible, but still in 3D, and I'm getting there. So it's something I'm going to return to doing the 3D. I like the old school feel, and I want all my books to have that kind of old school feel. The thing about this was I had to redraw this strip because I drew it a few years ago for the Tales of Mystery, and I redrew all the line work, and in some cases completely redesigned the pages because I wanted to make them work for 3D. Yeah, it was a long slog to get it
It
done.
would have to be. I mean, it's almost it seems cliche to say it, but it's more of an art than a science, because you've got your magenta and cyan layers, and you got to like shift them a little bit off, and then you got to look at them with the glasses on. And you're like, no,
Well,
that's
yeah. You put the glasses on, and then I put my other glasses on top of them so that I can see what I'm looking at. And then you realise that the colours on your monitors also affect the glasses, and so some of your monitor, what you're looking at on the monitor, will go in 3D as well. So you can only do it for so long before you really got to take them off and kind of, put the eye drops in and then put them back on again. But I was determined to get something that worked, and I thought, I did tests and I showed it to various different people, and they looked at it and I says, "Does it bother you that there's not black line?" And they went, "No, the 3D is great." And I was like, "Okay, that's it. It's the 3D that matters. So as long as I can get the sense of the depth working in this, then people will be happy with it." And I did. So I was well chuffed. And I'm not going to stop. I'm going to do another 3D thing in the future, I think, because this was a stretch goal in the first campaign. And I put so much work into it, you would not believe how much work I put into it. I was doing things like, because my background is in the games industry, so I was doing things like thinking about depth maps and things that you would do for computer games to try and get a sense of like depth in a 2D kind of texture. And I was playing around with ideas of that and getting things that were working great on screen, but just didn't transfer to print. And eventually it just came down to just a simple method: cyan, magenta, and just shift them.
Well, this is, I'm still loving the line work on this. Now here we see, I need to share my screen back again. This is from issue 1 and 2. And this is Ailsa done up in her television, well, not television, I guess, but her YouTube channel garb.
Yeah.
She got the wig, she's got the fangs, she's in front of the white zombie poster and the raven.
That's her. She's monologuing at the end of the show, and she's got the skull, she's got the bad wig, the fake fangs, and kind of like the sexy kind of like outfit.
Now, were you able to secure the ID at Ailsa Dark before you wrote this in here?
Yeah, Ailsa, that's on Twitter. You can follow her at Twitter at Ailsa Dark. You can also follow the Tatty Bogle Man, but be careful about that.
Yes.
So they're both on Twitter. He also doesn't tweet much, too busy saving the world, but so yeah, the idea was it's like this, to have 3 looks for Ailsa Dark, and this is her when she doesn't have the fake wig on and so on, and I wanted to get a feel for like a Glasgow street with the old kind of like sandstone tenement buildings. In fact, one of the ones I'm in Dundee, but that's the kind of building I'm in right now, and so I wanted to ground it in a place that I knew. So although it's kind of the 70s are in my head as for styles, I wanted to make sure it was modern and now, at the same time.
Here's the unappreciated part on all this. Everyone's going to be looking at Ailsa Dark because she's very pretty, she's very fit. Look at the technical details down here, folks, on this motorcycle. Just all the line work that goes into everything in the structure of this beast.
Yeah, it's a hybrid. It's a Triumph motorcycle and a wee bit of something that I just put together myself because I wanted to make it look as if it maybe, if anybody looked at me, that's not quite what a motorcycle's like, and I wanted to say, well, how do you know it came from this world and not the other world? So I designed it and I built it in Maya first, so that I had a reference to work from. So I've got a 3D model reference to work from. Don't trace it from Maya. That would look terrible. But
something that you would, when you're riding that, you're going somewhere on business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't draw it too often in the comic because it takes so long to draw. But I've got a cracking double-page spread that I'm working on just now in the 3rd issue, which is like pure Kirby, and the way that I'm doing it, a big Kirby double-page spread with the motorcycle, which I'm quite excited about.
Awesome. Now, I know that we get to know who Ailsa Dark is as you get the story along. Do Do you cover yet, or have you covered why Ailsa Dark is?
Well, actually, you don't know whether you get to know who she is either. The way that I'm doing this right now, you see all these blocks in text blocks in yellow. That's Ailsa Dark talking, doing the narration.
Sure, inner monologue.
Yeah, but there are 3 inner monologues in the comic. So one is Ailsa Dark, and one is her partner, Umar Nawaz, who's an ex-policeman. And when he narrates it, you see the blue panels, that's his narration. You're getting a slightly different story from him because you're getting his point of view. He's a far more conservative person, and he's been thrust into this world of the supernatural. And he's also been haunted by the ghost of his dead lover, or either that or he's going mad. So there's these 2 kind of narrations going on, and then there's a third narration. And this third narrator, which is in a white tech tuxedo, they are like Stan Lee or me, the kind of like the jovial editor talking to the readers. So that when they talk to you, they really break the fourth wall in a way that the others don't, and they'll talk to you as if you're their pal and they know you. And this third narrator, this is a spoiler, it comes at the end of the second issue, but I had to do it because this is the third issue. This guy down here, the blue and white, this is your third narrator. This is a chap that all the way through you've been feeling he's the kind of friendly one, he's telling me the truth. So which one of them is telling you the truth about Ailsa Dark as the story progresses, you don't know, or maybe they all are. So the mystery here is not so much getting to know Ailsa Dark or the why. The point of this book is to introduce you to Ailsa Dark and to make you interested in her. The second arc will tell you more about Ailsa Dark, and I've got 3 arcs worked out. The third arc is called The Origin of Ailsa Dark, and that's the one that tells you everything you need to know about Ailsa Dark. So I'm working backwards. I'm not doing the origin first. I'm working backwards to the origin.
Gotcha. Now that third arc, we would be talking about issues 7, 8, and 9, or do you know if your second arc is even going to be 3 or 4 issues?
The second arc is going to be a one-off graphic novel. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not one. It's more of a point.
Yeah, it's more of a point. It's going to be, I say a one-off graphic novel. It'll probably be like it's close to 124 pages, like this is as well. Oh. It'll be a hefty one, at least 96 pages for the second arc, and the same for the third one. So essentially, they were all designed to be 4-issue miniseries in my head, but I realised that the wait between campaigns, because this is not my day job. You know, I'm a college lecturer during the day, and I have to do this, at the weekends and the evenings. And I realised the wait between campaigns can be so long that I'm not going to give you single issues from now on. The next one is going to be a complete arc, so it's going to be one story. And so after this campaign, there'll just be 2 more Ailsa Dark campaigns, and you'll have the whole story. All you need to know about Ailsa Dark.
What's your subject matter that you lecture on?
It's well, I do animation and art and design, and I also do games development.
Okay, I didn't know if were like Indiana Jones and you taught archaeology and it informed the rest of your job.
That would be cool, though, wouldn't it? I wish I thought of that. I could just lie.
I sit at the university and I talk about ancient Scottish myths and legends. And then I go out and I dig them up and I kill them in between the comic book.
I should have done that. Just have candles and skulls behind me. I'd have been sorted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Get you somebody like George Peter Gatzis to do a 3D print of the Tatty Bogleman's skull and just have it sitting behind you. It says, "Yeah, here's the problem."
Quality.
Oh man, I come up with weird ideas sometimes on these shows, Wally. So let's see the stretch goals here. This is the stretch goal 1. If you hit 2,000 pounds, which I think you have.
Yep, we got there. Yeah, we did that in the first 24 hours, so that was cool. We launched in Charlie's London's channel, and we funded the campaign in 45 minutes, so that was really good.
Tatty Bogleman wants you. I like that. That's a classic. Sure.
It's already printed, that print, as you can see. and it looks lovely when you frame it too. So there you go. The Tatty Bogleman one shoe. The prints just turned up this week, and I couldn't resist putting one in a wee frame because it's, if I say so myself, it's awfully nice.
It is. It's absolutely gorgeous.
So everybody gets that. Everybody gets the Bampot bonus because we've got that as well. So that's a trading card with Eric, the Bampot Anderson, the shape-shifting, flesh-eating ghoul.
And then the next one was 4,000 pounds, and that's this beautiful piece of print right here from Statistical Zero.
Yeah, I love that. That's Stato's Ailsa Dark, kind of retro 60s movie poster feel for Ailsa Dark, or even 50s. Yeah. You know, it's got a kind of soul bass.
This would look gorgeous on the back glass of your car, right there in the corner, just on a transparent sticker.
Yep.
So that's all the stretch goals. You've hit all the stretch goals now.
We've hit all the stretch goals. There are others I have in mind, but they are relying on, as the campaign goes on, in demand. There's one or two. Like I say, there's an original piece of artwork I'm going to be working on, and when I'm happy with that, that's going to be put on there as well, either as a tier that you can go for a perk or as a stretch goal. I'm staying flexible with this. It's things you learn from the first campaign. Don't throw everything up there, and see this. Give people enough so that they're interested in it and they like what they're looking for, and then introduce more as you go along and make it accessible to everybody. So even people that have backed before, make it accessible to them too.
Yeah, it's like with my kid. If I give him too many options right up front, he can't pick any of them. So here's two options.
That's
that one. We'll build off of it.
Yeah, you should see the state of my campaign when you look at it. Sort of like all the pages that I was trying to work out, before I went live, because there's so many different perks that I didn't put out there that I had that I could have used. But you've got to keep it simple when you start with the campaign.
And of course, you give them the reassurance of showing them how they're going to be packed, which not enough to do.
Yeah, it's like I was on. I don't know if you've seen the Rabbi from Another Planet. I was on his channel, and he was like, and it comes with clear tape. And I was like, yeah, because I want to show people where they can cut with the edge of the knife. And I don't think I used clear tape in all the ones in the last campaign, but as I was doing it, I realized, with the clear tape, you can actually see. So I'm safe doing this and cutting around here. I'm not actually going to cut into anything. So, yeah.
Plus, you can see that this is not the kind of mailer that your postman is going to say, doesn't quite fit in the box. Maybe if I fold it, it will get in there.
Yeah, if you've got a standard letterbox, that will go through it. Yeah.
So I've noticed that especially with the United States Post Office, you almost have to put a titanium plate in with the comic book to keep them from trying to bend it, because
that's the one thing I was really worried about, and it's like, so I got these boxes specifically because I used to sell comics on eBay a wee bit, just to make a wee bit extra money, and I always used these because they were good and solid. But I'd always put more cardboard inside just to make them even more solid. But everybody that backed, I didn't get a single complaint. And once they were all packed, to be honest, you could use them as a weapon, or you could break a window with them. They're solid,
a brick.
Exactly. A nice wee Scottish brick coming through your letterbox.
Well, do you have any ideas for things beyond Ailsa Dark? I mean, I know that you've got plenty with her to keep you busy. You've got the 3 story arcs to go through. Yeah,
I've got, I'm currently, this one's going to fulfill in May of next year. Before then, because right now I'm also working in Charlie's London's campaign. So the one shot that she has with Charlie Chaplin and Stan Laurel, I'm drawing that. So right now I'm jumping between drawing Charlie Chaplin and Stan Laurel and a werewolf with a monocle, just as you do. But once I've got Ailsa Dark sorted, I'm ready to run with Tales of Mystery and Imagination. And that's going to be my next campaign. It will have my adaptation of the Telltale Heart, and it will have the Tatty Bogleman is a full colour story, and it will have lots of other stuff in it as well.
You can do with the like a horror anthology kind of
it's
deal?
pretty much going to be a horror anthology, but it'll probably be like a week collection of the strips that I've done before, but remastered, all of them remastered. And I also have there's a few others. I've got a spin-off from Ailsa Dark that I've written just as a full graphic novel, and I sent it to an artist. If anybody might follow him on Twitter, called Tony Sizzle, and he has already done a few pages for it. And it's essentially, I've said to him, just, whenever you feel like it, work on it. So it's just one of these kind of wee back burner things that's just kind of growing. You have a page here and a page there, and it looks really good. And it's quite nice getting somebody to do the drawing instead of me for a change.
By the time you get ready to launch it, it'll be done.
Exactly. So essentially there's that, and there's also, I've got ideas and things I want to do. There's a medieval Scottish story that I want to do. I've written it, and I'm probably going to have to draw it myself. So that's the problem, because I'm drawing so many things.
I understand that. You're stretching yourself pretty thin there. You like horror? It seems like you lean that way for your stories.
Yeah, I do. I just love horror. Talking about like horror to people, I'm like yourself. I'm trying to remember who was I talking to this about. It must have been today, or I've been in so many streams. Actually, it was in Shay's stream. But she was like, "Oh, she saw her first kind of horror movie, and she was like, didn't want to see anymore." I was the exact opposite. I think I was a small kid watching Chitty Chitty Bang Bang in the cinema and not really feeling it, And then the Child Catcher came on, and then I was like, "Oh, this is a bit scary. And I liked it, So it's just, and even just watching horror movies when I was a child on TV, when I was allowed to stay up late, I just loved it. I loved the whole idea of how it made you feel. It's kind of like being on a roller coaster, Yeah.
My son was 12, and he's 13 now, but he was 12, and I was like, couldn't get him into superhero comics, couldn't get him into superhero movies. I'm like, I was ready to go out for genetic testing to make sure he was mine. And then we were just sitting up late one night, and he's up and his mom's in bed, and we're going through the on-demand pictures, and like, oh, I haven't seen It yet, but you're up, so I can't watch it. He's like, I watch it. I'm like, okay, but you got to leave if you get scared. And this is the new version of It. Mm. He laughed his ass off through the whole thing. And I'm like, okay, either you're really very well adjusted or you're very not. I'm not sure which one makes me feel better.
Yeah, no, yeah, you'll be all right.
I think he's going to be okay. If you're watching,
I watched Theatre of Blood last night, the old Vincent Price movie, and I'm kind of remembering when I first saw it. When I was like about 12, 13 or whatever it was on TV. And it's just, there's a sensibility about certain things when you see them. And it was like, I remember being really disturbed by some of it then. And it didn't disturb me now, but I could understand why I was disturbed by it. Whereas certain things I remember seeing and thinking, that's really funny. I love that. But like you were saying, most people would look at it and go, why are you finding that funny? It's horrible. But the filmmakers want you to enjoy it. I think that's what it is.
Exactly. Folks in the chat, if you want to read a great horror graphic novel, definitely get out there and back Ailsa Dark. The link to the Indiegogo is the very first line down here below in the description of the video. So click on that, follow it through. 16 days left to get in on this. I don't want to say that it's going to go on in demand after that and make you feel like you can slack off. Pretend it's not. Pretend you've got 16 days so that you don't miss out on this thing. And if you still need some more horror, then Critical Blast has just finished publishing The Devil You Know, our latest anthology of horror stories. 20 different authors, 20 fresh voices, all stories about people who run into some guy and have, a meeting with him and what comes out of that. So that is the last thing we've published so far. I think you'll enjoy that as well. Well, it's been great having you on the show tonight, and I wish I'd had you on sooner. I'm sorry I waited so long to do it, but
no, it's no problem. I'm glad you yourself. It's been great chatting to you, man.
Well, as soon as you get the graphic novel going for the next one, we want to have you back for sure, and we'll push that one a lot earlier than this one. Fortunately, they're already funded, so I don't feel any pressure.
No, not at all. No, I mean, if anybody is thinking about it, and it's nearly Christmas, I know that as well. If you can back it now, that's great, because it helps with the algorithms and everything. Where so like if you're getting more backers towards the end, I don't know how it all works, but people tell me these things. But it is going to be there in demand. So if you do think, oh, I really like the look of that, it's not going anywhere. So just follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, and you are doing that Charlie and Stan with the all the Stan Laurel bit. That was the tier that I wanted to get in on with Charlie's London, because I was such a huge fan of Laurel and Hardy when I was growing up.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't know that there was a Laurel and Chaplin at one point. So.
Yeah. So and that's it. But I knew roughly, but until I read Charlie's script, I wasn't really totally aware of it. So now I'm researching it and I'm working away on that. So it's fun, something different.
If you're starting to do that, once you've done that, you're going to show that he's available for other things, and you'll start getting contact.
Oh no! I always said people would ask me, "Would you work with other people?" And say, "Oh no, I'm not. I'll have other artists, but I'm never going to draw." And then Charlie had this campaign. I'm like, that seems like a nice wee challenge and just like a nice wee piece to work on, And so that's why I'm doing it. But no, I don't think I'll do,
Well, it's some brilliant work that I've seen on it. So.
Yeah, so everybody it's a stunning campaign, and there's Billy Tucci's. She tweeted out Billy Tucci's pencils today as well. It's like for the poster in it. Yeah.
Speaking of Billy Tucci, I know that I said tomorrow night we're going to be watching the Santa Claus versus the Devil, but next Saturday night, next Saturday night at this very time, we have our bi-weekly The LCS Guys show. Where we have the local comic shop guys from around the country here get in and talk about the industry. It is going to be our Christmas special, and you are not going to want to miss this, folks in the chat, because we are going to have some special surprise guests, and some of their names have been mentioned within the last 4 minutes. So they will be popping in to say hello and Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and whatever have you. And before that, this Thursday night, we will be talking with Paul Kupperberg, who will be talking about his new book, JSA Ragnarok, as well as, some Supergirl, some Vigilante, and about 1/3 of all my boxes of comics over here, because the man's been a prolific writer.
Yeah, he's I was thinking that just when I saw you were talking to him, I thought there's so much that he did. That'll be a good show.
I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I'm just going to talk about JSA, and let me go get a picture. And I was like, well, wait a second. He did all of my Checkmate, almost all my Vigilantes, bunch of this, bunch of that. Oh my God, he did Supergirl. I have all this stuff.
Tons of stuff he did. He did a good stuff.
I think he might have written more than just about any other comic book writer I've got published here in my collection. So
I watched your episode with Mike Grell as well. He's another creator that is kind of logged in my head, when I'm working in Ailsa Dark, that kind of writer, artists kind of from the 70s and 80s. So that's another one. So it's how they approached making comics. It's kind of how I'm approaching making comics.
I was thinking Mike Grell too when I saw some of this imagery. I can't remember what picture it was, but I'm like, that kind of looks like something Grell would do. I don't know where it was at now, but I actually think it was in the video when the video was playing. So,
right.
Going to be there too.
You stay up late next week then.
I haven't told any of the LCS guys who's going to be showing up. So if they're watching, they've already got a hint now. I'm just my plan is to just be talking with them like we normally do, bullshitting about comics, and then I'll have my Santa hat on and drinking my eggnog, and I'll be like, wait a second, you guys hear jingle bells? And then pop, they're there. So just surprise them with that. All right. I've kept you on long enough, Wally. You need to go get some sleep so that you can.
Yeah, I do kind of.
So Thank you for coming on, folks in the chat. Thank you for showing up. We couldn't do a show without you guys being here, because it would be worth his time to come talk. And we will be back tomorrow night to watch Santa Claus versus the Devil, and definitely go out there and back Ailsa Dark. With that, good night to everybody.
Good night.